It's time to get on board the Underground Railroad in Harriet.
It's the J. Craig Movie Review. Movie Review. A movie review.
Harriet is directed by Kasi Lemmons, who directed one episode of Luke Cage, as well as Caveman's Valentine with Sam Jackson. This movie stars Cynthia Erivo, who is the star of Bad Times at the El Royale, which I really liked. Now, this movie is about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad. Now, I didn't know a lot about this story other than the fact that Harriet Tubman was a key figure of the Underground Railroad, which was bringing slaves to some free land, whether it was Pennsylvania or Canada. It was risking their lives to bring other slaves back to some free land. And it's a really interesting story about where she came from, how she got there, and the hardships and trials that she had to go just to free herself. But then she had the courage to go back and to risk whatever judgment or justice that they were going to, put upon her if they ever caught her. She risked all that to come back and free more slaves, and just kept doing that more and more and more, and was just a key figure of the Underground Railroad. So it is a really awesome look at history. It's an awesome look at a character that I didn't know a lot about. Now, Cynthia Erivo does an amazing job as Harriet. Again, I know her from the Bad Times at the El Royale, and she was really good in that. And so I like that she's getting a chance here to star. And I was afraid this movie was going to be a bit of an action movie from the poster. You know, she has a rifle, and you're like, huh? Harriet Tubman now has a rifle, so I thought they were gonna make like an action movie, make it Hollywood. That's not the case. So, there is some gunplay in the movie, but it's not an action movie in any way, shape, or form. But it is a really good history lesson, especially, knowing what people had to go through. First of all, to, risk themselves, whether they were, white or black, and they were trying to help slaves, or whether it was the slaves themselves trying to get out of, that situation and get themselves to free land so they could actually be people and not property. It's remarkable. It's also hard to watch too, because you're watching how certain people treat other people, and it's hard to watch in that regard, because you see the evil in men and what they're capable of doing. But I really liked the movie because I liked all the acting. I liked the story that it was going for. I like the history lesson of it, so to speak. Again, I thought it was going to go kind of Hollywood. It didn't. Although at the end, the ending I thought was a typical Hollywood ending. But as I looked into it, that's actually what happened. So, okay, fair enough. You guys did your research and you did a good job with it. But I was afraid they were going to make it kind of Hollywood and make it more of an action movie. That's not the case. There are things that happen at the end which I didn't know really happened. And I thought maybe that was the Hollywood spin they put on it. But that actually did happen. So it's a pretty remarkable story on what she went through to first of all free herself, then to go back, and then just to keep coming back. Now, I did have a problem with one particular thread, a story thread they had going. So she escapes from a slave owner, right? She escapes from a family, and they want her back. And there's a couple reasons why they want her back, but there's something going on within the family, which is why they want to bring Harriet back. And they use her sister and her sister's baby as kind of leverage. And there's one point in the story where they're going to use the baby as leverage. They're going to use it as almost like Robin Hood, right? They're going to use it as a way to bring Harriet back in, which they call her Moses because they don't know it's a female and they don't know who it is. So they're calling her Moses. But once they finally figure out it's Harriet, they want to bring her in. They want to trick her. They want to trap her, right? They want to trick her into coming in, and they're going to use the baby as leverage. Well, that gets kind of dropped at one point. So they bring that up, and you're like, oh, okay, that's going to bring her back. We're going to have some drama. There's going to be some good stuff happening. And then they dropped it. So I was a little disappointed by that. Maybe it was a time thing, or maybe it was something they'd never really wanted to focus on. But hey, it was there, and I was waiting for it to happen. It just never happened. So another cool thing that I mentioned, Robin Hood and Moses. So she is kind of like a Robin Hood of sorts because no one knows who she is, and she's doing all these things behind their back, and she's slaves are disappearing left and right. And so they call her Moses. And I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't know that either. Again, I'm taking this for its word. I don't know how true this is. I'm taking for its word. But I found it fascinating to find out who Harriet was, what she went through, and, everything else about it. The Moses part, how she was a part of the Underground Railroad and how that expanded into more once the Civil War came around. I highly recommend it if you like good history lessons, if you like a good movie on good acting, or just simply a good movie. Go check it out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow with J. Craig. See you next time.
It's the J. Craig Movie Review. You watch till the end. Thanks, like, and subscribe.